Hey there, and welcome back to the deep dive. Do you ever get that feeling, you're constantly moving, bouncing between messages, tasks, but then the day ends and you feel like you haven't really moved the needle on the big stuff? It's such a common thing these days, isn't it? Well, today we're going to try and cut through some of that digital static. We've gone through Cal Newport's really influential book, Deep Work, Mastering Focus in a Distracted World. And we've pulled out what we think are the most powerful insights, the most practical bits. Basically, our mission is to give you a kind of shortcut to getting that meaningful focus back and, help you make some real progress on your important work.
Yeah, and this couldn't be more relevant right now. I mean, think about it. We're swimming in information, constant pings, demands on our attention. Being able to concentrate deeply, that's not just nice to have anymore. It's fast becoming a real competitive advantage. So if you're trying to learn fast or really excel in your job or even just kind of reclaim your own headspace, this deep dive has some definite
Ah.
moments waiting, maybe even some surprising stuff about how our brains work.
Okay, so let's nail down the core idea right away. Newport defines deep work as the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. So what does that actually look like? Well, think about writing a book, or maybe solving a really knotty problem, designing something totally new, or um, mastering a difficult skill quickly. It's that intense, focused, sort of uninterrupted mental effort. High-value stuff.
Right. And the flip side is what he calls shallow work. That's all the other stuff that fills our days, isn't it? You know, the endless email churn, those back-to-back meetings that maybe didn't need to happen, scrolling through social media, trying to multitask. These things feel productive. They make us feel busy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But they rarely lead to, meaningful results. Deep work is like your high ROI activity. That's where the value gets created. Shallow work, it's mostly just noise, busy work.
And that difference is just so critical right now. Newport's main point, really, is that in this knowledge economy we're in, with global competition and everything, mastering deep work isn't just helpful. He argues it's the absolute key to consistently performing better than others. It's about working smarter, not just putting in more hours.
And he uses this great analogy. He says deep work is like a muscle. Just like any muscle, right? If you
Yeah.
don't use it, it gets weak. But if you consistently practice, like consciously block distractions, give your mind that uninterrupted space, you can achieve some really amazing things. It's about building up that mental stamina, not just waiting for inspiration to strike.
So, okay, how do we actually build this deep work muscle? Newport's book kind of breaks it down into two main parts. First, understanding why deep work is so powerful now, and then the practical rules for actually doing it. So we're going to explore why it's become so vital, and then really dig into his four uh, practical, actionable rules for cultivating it yourself. We'll also touch on some cool concepts like attention residue and, maybe surprisingly, the value of being bored. So let's start with the why. Why isn't deep work just important, but like essential in today's economy?
Well, think about it this way. Information is everywhere, right? So how do you actually stand out? In this digital world, the real currency is being able to learn complex things fast and then produce really high quality work based on that. Deep work is the engine for both of those things. And you see this pattern again and again with top performers, writers, coders, leaders. They leverage these focused bursts of deep work to get done in hours what might take someone else days of scattered effort.
That really hits home, doesn't it? It's not just theory. It's about how you actually structure your work. And Newport gives us four rules to make this happen. Rule number one is basically work deeply. Simple, right? But it's not just about trying to focus now and then. It's about making focus a core part of your professional life. He really emphasizes scheduling deep work. Like, put it in your calendar. Even if it's just, say, 60 or 90 minutes to start. Build rituals around it. Turn off notifications. Make that block of time sacred.
Totally. And that flows right into rule number 2, embrace boredom. This one feels a bit weird at first.
Yeah, it does sound counterintuitive.
Right. Because we're so trained now, the second we feel a tiny bit bored, what do? We reach for the phone, look for some quick hit of stimulation. Newport warns that this constant need for distraction actually weakens our brain's focus muscle. So his advice is resist that urge. Just let yourself be bored sometimes. Don't immediately fill the space. It's not just about willpower. It's literally retraining your brain to tolerate quiet, to tolerate stillness, so that when you do need to focus deeply, your brain is actually ready for it instead of craving constant input. It's like reclaiming your attention span.
Letting your mind wander or just be still. That definitely goes against the grain of how we operate now. How does being bored actually strengthen focus later on?
Well, it basically retrains your attention system.
Yeah.
It teaches your brain that it doesn't need constant novelty to function. It gets comfortable with sustained focus. And that ties straight into rule number 3, quit social media. Now, he's not necessarily saying everyone needs to delete all their accounts tomorrow.
Okay, that's a relief for...
Yeah, it's more nuanced. His point is, be incredibly intentional about the tools you use. Ask yourself, does this specific platform directly and significantly support my most important goals? If it's mainly just eating up your time, fragmenting your attention without giving you clear, high value in return for your deep work, then maybe it's time to reconsider its role. It's about being a conscious curator of your digital life, not just a passive consumer.
Like a strategic retreat almost.
Yeah.
Protecting your attention, which is your most valuable asset, really. And rule number 4, drain the shallows, seems to build right on that.
Exactly. This one's about actively cutting down the amount of shallow work you do. Be systematic about it. Don't just react to things all day. Maybe say no more often to meetings that aren't essential. Try batching your emails. Check them only at set times, not constantly. Maybe set office hours for when people can interrupt you, or just turn off notifications entirely for blocks of time. The whole point is to claw back time and energy for the deep stuff, making deliberate space for it.
And speaking of energy and focus, that concept you mentioned earlier, attention residue, that was a real eye-opener for me in the book.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
It's not just the distraction itself, is it? It's like every time you switch tasks, quickly say, you're writing something important, then you glance at a notification, your brain doesn't fully switch. A part of your attention, like a mental ghost, stays stuck on the previous thing.
Right, and that residue makes you less effective on the new task. It reduces your mental clarity. It costs you.
So to avoid paying that mental tax, Newport says, do one thing at a time, fully, deeply, no switching back and forth. It allows your full cognitive capacity to land on what you're doing now.
It's so true. And you know, what's really common is people get stuck in this cycle of just being busy. They're reacting all day, emails, messages, notifications, and they mistake all that activity for actual productivity. The big question Newport pushes you to ask is, are you measuring your day by how busy you felt or by the volume of actual deep, valuable work you produced?
That's a tough question sometimes.
It is. And he suggests things like time blocking, literally planning out your whole day in advance, hour by hour, or even half-hour blocks. You assign specific tasks, including deep work, shallow stuff, even breaks. It forces you to prioritize and be really intentional with your time and attention.
And to kind of bookend the workday, he talks about having a shutdown ritual, right? A consistent routine at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly. A way to review what you did, make sure nothing urgent is left hanging, plan for tomorrow briefly, and then consciously signal to your brain, work is done for today.
So you can actually switch off and recover instead of ruminating about tasks all evening.
Precisely. So your brain gets real rest.
I have to say, trying some of this stuff, even just blocking out maybe 2 hours most mornings, no distractions, it totally changed how I approach bigger projects. Things that used to drag on for half a day. Sometimes I could get a really solid draft done in like 90 minutes of pure focus. It's pretty amazing when you actually commit to it. So just to kind of wrap up the core ideas, applying these deep work principles, it's not really about working harder, is it? It's about working smarter. It's planning your focus, not just reacting, going deep on one important thing instead of juggling 10 shallow ones, and actually building energy and fulfillment from doing meaningful work.
Absolutely. And Newport's challenge is quite profound, really. He says, measure your success by the volume of deep work you complete, not by how busy you are. In a world that's basically designed to fracture your attention, your ability to focus becomes this massive competitive advantage. It really sets you apart.
So who really needs to hear this? Who benefits most? Honestly, I think it's anyone who feels constantly distracted, maybe overwhelmed, or just feels busy, but like they're spinning their wheels, not making real progress. Could be a student trying to learn tough material, a creator, an entrepreneur, any professional, really, who wants to produce outstanding work and stand out. This framework offers a path.
And the deeper implication, I think, is that this isn't just about productivity hacks. It's fundamentally about protecting your mind, protecting your ability to think clearly and deeply in a world that constantly tries to pull it apart. It's almost about reclaiming a kind of mental sovereignty.
That's a powerful way to put it. So, okay, here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If deep work really does allow for faster learning and higher quality output, what's that complex skill or that big project that you've been putting off? The one you know is important but feels daunting. What could you finally master or achieve if you committed to just, say, 60 or 90 minutes of truly dedicated distraction-free focus each day? What could your life, your work look like if you consistently train that deep work muscle?